The Secretary will read the order.
Debate on vote number 36, Water and Sanitation Appropriation Bill.
I now invite the Honourable the Minister of Water and Sanitation to introduce a budget vote. The Honourable Minister.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, Honourable Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee and committee members, Deputy Minister Chwete, Honourable Members of Parliament, colleagues, chairpersons and CEs of the water boards and other water sector entities, honoured guests, fellow South Africans, Sanbonan. We're here to present to Parliament and the people of South Africa the budget of the Department of Water and Sanitation for the financial year 2016-2017. As guided by the precepts and imperatives of the National Development Plan, the NC's manifesto, the second National Water Strategy, our department continues to put water provision and sanitation services at the center of the government's programs. Guided by the NDP, we continue to steer South Africa towards radical socio-economic transformation to create jobs, reduce inequality, and push back the frontiers of poverty. Growth, creation of new industries, and promotion of knowledge-based solutions, and that water will contribute to peace and stability, as well as act as a cross-cutting agent for change. The broad vision of the NDP for water resources and services is that by 2030, all South Africans will have affordable access to sufficient, safe water and hygienic sanitation to live healthy and dignified lives. Through this budget, we are presenting before you, fellow South Africans, what we seek to ensure that, amongst others, we increase the pace of service delivery and we ensure that is accelerated, as well as pay more attention to further develop resilient infrastructure that will help us to meet the needs of households, industry, commerce, and the environment. In September 2015, together with 192 other countries, our country, through the United Nations, committed itself to the realizations of the targets set in the Sustainable Development Goals. For the very first time, water and sanitation was adopted as a standalone Goal 6 that promotes availability and sustainable management of the SDGs. Require us to pay attention to the quality of projects in order to ensure development goals. With this budget, we'll continue working hard to ensure that women like Umama Dlamini from Kanyagute and Mema Chauke from Guyane cease to be victims of indecent assault and humiliation through bringing quality, dignified sanitation and quality within their reach and in their respective households. As a reminder, South Africa is a water-scarce country that has never fully explored mixed water use. For some time now, our country has been in the clutches of a severe drought, largely due to climate change and the rise in temperatures. In response to the aforementioned challenges, government, under the leadership of President Jacob Zuma, established an interministerial task team with representation from different sectors. Within the water sector, in order to mitigate the drought effects, dam operating rules have been applied to 35 dams and 4 systems where restrictions are currently applied with regard to the water resource. To mitigate the effects of drought on water users, the department has spent over 500 million on emergency and short-term interventions in KwaZulu-Natal, Free State, Northwest, Eastern Cape, Mpumalanga, Limpopo, Western Cape, and Northern Cape, that include water conservation and water demand management through the implementation of the project War on Leaks. Surface water resource management, where we seek to optimize operation of the Vaal River system. Groundwater resource management, which also uses drilling and equipping of boreholes as an intervention. Cutting of water using fleet of motorized tankers. Provision of static storage tanks and storage reservoirs, as well as water transfers, such as the emergency transfers from Tugela to Hudetro and Utongati River transfer to Hazelmere. The medium to long-term interventions seek to ensure that we are more climate change resilient, and we should, of course, reduce the risk for future drought mitigations. And in this area, our focus is primarily integration of groundwater and surface water use in the future, going full scale and at a larger scale in the area of desalination, investment on innovative solutions such as Drop the Block, a water-saving mechanism which was designed by Prashin Dogi, a young chemical engineer from KwaZulu-Natal. Presence. We also seek to incorporate all municipal and privately owned dams into the management system for the future. We will also be promoting the building of additional storage capacity using innovative solutions. Lastly, we'll roll out large-scale reuse of water, focusing on effluent recycling on coastal towns where treated effluents are disposed via sea outfalls and not taken into account in return flows. Honorable members, fellow South Africans, I wish to take this opportunity to thank all South Africans, those who have been involved in the unprecedented humanitarian support that other South Africans have received in the difficult time of the drought. Many organizations, including the Nelson Mandela Foundation, all joined forces with Operation Hydrate and launched what can only be described as the biggest water drive ever seen and have delivered more than 13 million liters of water. Furthermore, we must extend our sincere appreciation to the Defense Force for putting the necessary infrastructure and resources in mitigation of the drought. Thank you, Siyabong. Honorable members, fellow South Africans, since our last presentation, this department has been hard at work to reflect on its own capacity and ensure implementation of strategic plan and the annual performance plan. As mentioned before, we have been working closely with the Department of COGTA to implement the Back to Basics program so as to address the challenges faced by local government. Progress on the Back to Basics implementation has been most impactful in those municipalities that have been placed under administration. In this regard, the most notable impact is seen in the municipalities of Ngaka Mulema, Madibeng in the northwest, Makana in the Eastern Cape, Umkanyagute in KwaZulu-Natal, as well as Bushbuck Ridge in Mpumalanga. In these particular cases, funds have been consolidated to fund projects, and this is what we have observed. There's been rapid reinstatement of water supply due to dysfunctional infrastructure. Services, particularly in Umkanyagute, Ramutsiri Muilwa, Tswaing, Mahikeng, and Ditsobota in Ngaka Mulema. The optimization of water treatment and wastewater treatments in the area of and the pump stations and water treatment works in Makana in the Eastern Cape. The facilitation and the implementation of capital projects to expand the capacity and improve water quality, such as in Mahikeng, Bretts, and Makana. Honorable members, when we tabled the budget last year, we outlined our strategic priorities, which are water resource management, water infrastructure development, water and sanitation services, and the exercise of regulatory and policy responsibilities. We do recognize, however, that a large number of municipality water systems and sewage systems are in a very poor state of operation, and we are committed to fixing this. Recognizing the aforementioned challenges, an interministerial task team endorsed and supported, which is about a radical approach for operations and maintenance of water and sanitation in South Africa. It is our intention that where there's been service delivery failures and incidents of pollution, we intervene, working in partnership with governance. We wish to remind you of the concept of the water and sanitation transformation agenda. The how is based on the following pillars: a robust infrastructure program, investing on the game changers, facilitating a water and sanitation revolution, working in partnership with the Strategic Water Partnership Network that is strategically positioned to be our strong partner in the space, expanding the water family. The South African water industry has been too small over time and dominated by traditional players. We want to both expand and diversify this industry. The Water Research Commission has been tasked to expand their technology assessment program so as to assist new entrants into the water and the sanitation sector. Technology and innovation remain one of the key ingredients of success. Together with the Water Research Commission, we are working jointly with the Department of Science and Technology in implementing some of the alternative solutions, both in sanitation as well as water storage capacities. On infrastructure planning and development, since we have made commitments on infrastructure rollout of major projects in the current administration, progress has been made, and I wish to mention just but a few. In the Eastern Cape on Mzimvubu River Water Project, finally, our plan on the Mzimvubu Water Project in the Eastern Cape is on track, comprising 2 dams, a large dam at Ntabelanga and a small dam combined with hydropower facility Elaleni. The completion of a detailed design will enable us to commence with construction, which is scheduled to take place during the second quarter of this financial year 2016-2017. This scheme includes bulk distribution and water treatment infrastructure for the benefit of a whopping 540,000 indigent domestic users in OR Tambo, Alfred Nzo, Joe Kabi district municipalities, as well as 2,800 hectare irrigation development around Tsolo, targeting primarily the emerging farmer. On the Lesotho Highlands Water Project Phase 2, this phase is required in order to augment the Vaal River system. The water delivery component of this project involves the construction of a new dam, Pudihadi, and Pudihadi-Katse Tunnel and associated infrastructure. We estimate the cost of this project to be in the tune of 22.9 billion, with water delivery scheduled for 2024. As the benefit of the water delivery accrues to South Africa, the latter is also responsible for funding the water delivery component. On management of acid mine drainage, building on the successes of our immediate and short-term interventions to deal with the problem of AMD in the Witwatersrand area, we wish to announce that government has decided to implement a much more permanent solution to this challenge. This long-term approach is aimed at transforming the acid mine drainage into a fully treated water, thereby substantially increasing water supply to the Vaal River system and meeting the needs of South Africa's economic hub, Gauteng. In a week's time, in this regard, we will make an announcement on site because we have since appointed TCTA as the implementing agent for the long-term solution, and we will shortly provide details next week in Gauteng in the West Rand. On the Northern Cape, Vaal Gamagara, this project involves the development of additional groundwater resources to supply the anticipated water demands in support of the mining areas. We are pleased, honorable members, fellow South Africans, to announce that plans aimed at the Lesotho Highlands Water Network to Botswana have commenced through the development of the Vaal Gamagara. Water knows no boundary. That's why we are partnering with Botswana, because peace and stability in Botswana will contribute to prosperity in South Africa. The expected completion for this phase is March 2018. The total project budget without Botswana is 13 billion, and the total project budget that includes Botswana is estimated at 18.4 billion. In the Western Cape on the Glen William Dam, we are happy to announce that the diversion of N7 through the work that has been done by SANRAL was a precursor to the raising of the dam, and it has since been completed thanks to SANRAL. Plans are also in place to extend the distribution system of the Glen William Dam to cover areas beyond Matsikama and Cedarburg areas, thus making Glen William Dam a catalyst for development in the West Coast region of this province. We are also in consultation with the Department of Agriculture and Rural Development to ensure that beneficiaries in the land restitution process also have access so that we redress the balances of the past. On the eradication of the bucket system in the formal townships that were left by the apartheid system and having robbed communities of the right to decent and basic sanitation for all, we have made drastic interventions. Through a verification process, we confirmed some 55,000 bucket toilets, predominantly in the Free State, Northern Cape, Eastern Cape, and Northwest. I'm dealing with your mess that you left behind. With the reality of water scarcity, the geographic spread of communities in relation to services and the availability of supporting infrastructure underscore the challenges of this project. To give effect to some of the revolutionary principles, we have already started implementing a grey water recycling system in the Nketwana and Setsoto local municipalities of the Free State. In Bradstown, the department eradicated and handed over where some 398 bucket toilets in the Northern Cape have been done, and we have completed the project. The community will now use a low water flush system. We are proud to announce that it is in this community where Mayor Joyce, together with 13 other senior citizens, all of them above the age of 80, for the first time, received an adapted toilet which will allow easy access for them directly from inside the house, limiting the walking distance and improving comfort and safety. For the first time in 80 years, this 22-year-old government has been able to make that difference. In the Springbok area of Namakwaland, the department has eradicated a further 192 toilets in 7 villages. The department will also intervene in some municipalities that are struggling to fund the provision and maintenance of the bulk infrastructure. In the Northwest, where only 231 bucket toilets were recorded, the department today can announce that this province will join Gauteng, Limpopo, KwaZulu-Natal, and Mpumalanga provinces as having rid themselves of the legacy of the bucket toilet system in the formal and old established townships. In the Eastern Cape, out of the 3 projects, the department has completed its program in Nemato in the Ndlambe local municipality, wherein 1,390 toilets, and Patterson's in Sunday's River Valley, where 1,245 buckets were eradicated, a legacy that has been left even by those who were premiers in the Eastern Cape and are sitting on the other side. By far the most challenging province is the Northern Cape, with its flat terrain. With regard to delivery of dry sanitation through the rural household infrastructure, we have another good story to tell. Our efforts at augmenting the municipal program of eradicating the sanitation backlog in the 27 priority district municipalities are on track. As a contribution to inclusive growth, we implemented initiatives that support resource-poor farmers with access to water through the rainwater harvesting program, and cumulatively 862 rainwater harvesting tanks have been installed. In August 2015, we launched the War on Leaks that seeks to build capacity that we require. Phase 1 of the project is currently underway, and a total of 2,827 learners are engaged in the learning process across all the 9 provinces. The second phase will commence in July 2016. On water and getting to grips with the economic and social implications. However, we do also recognize that over years the water sector has not been transformed, and it could not even transform itself as it should have, and our people have not actively benefited from the sector other than being recipients of toilets and water. What is to be done now? During the 2014-2015 financial year, The expenditure on procurement amounted to 13.3 billion. The amount that was spent for the period of 2014-15 was a mere 592 million to black emerging contractors, young people, and people living with disability. We seek to change this drastically by applying set-asides at 30% for women and 15% for young people and 5% for people living with disability. We want them to design, we want them to construct, we want them to operate, we want them to maintain water infrastructure. They also deserve to accumulate wealth out of the work that we are doing. We are committing ourselves to fundamentally transform this sector. We know that we have to invest in skilling, especially on young people. We must create an enabling environment for job opportunities, and hence our partnership with DTI. We have to ensure equitable water allocation and also use a principle of use it or lose it, so that when you overuse, you pay. When you don't use, we redirect those resources to those who are in need. Honorable members, to effectively carry our mandate, Program 1 of this department has been allocated an amount of 1,659,488 rands. Examples for this, it's about the implementation of the program management unit. Program 2 is on water planning and information management to the tune of 841,817,000 rands. And here we'll be looking at, amongst other things, the work that we are now focusing on the study for Umkomazi project in KwaZulu-Natal and Lusikisiki surface and groundwater in the Eastern Cape. On Program 3, on water infrastructure, 11,696,415,000 rand will be invested in Mzimvubu, Glen William, Zanin Namitwa, Valhamachara, and the augmentation of Harib. On Program 4, it's on water and sanitation, focusing on the resource-poor farmers. And the last program on the water sector regulation, it will be about the establishment of catchment management agencies and support to water institutions. We are embarking on policy reform. Amongst other things that we'll be doing in this financial year is to amalgamate Mhlatuze Water and Umgeni Water into a one KZN wall-to-wall water board. We will also be working in the process of setting up a water infrastructure agency in the department so that we reposition ourselves to realize the goals of the National Development Plan. Chairperson, as we have alluded earlier, that the department continues to build and support the creation of new infrastructure. The following is what will also accelerate. In KwaZulu-Natal, we'll focus on the Mdloti project, which at the initial cost of 528 million is progressing well. In Limpopo, we'll look at the Groote Letaba augmentation project, which would also be helping us to accommodate the district of Mopani in Limpopo. The Giyani groundwater augmentation, focusing on the Giyani wastewater treatment. On regional bulk infrastructure, we do have a number of municipalities that will be focusing on, amongst others, implementing the presidential intervention project for Umtata, King Sabata Talinjebo, as well as the supply for Moses Kotane and Rustenburg. We will also be focusing on Jozini Ngwavuma water project for the Jozini municipality. In Gauteng, unlocking of bulk infrastructure development will be implemented in Lions Park and Safer Fontaine projects to promote integrated human settlement and building a non-racial Gauteng. In the Limpopo area, we'll focus on the intervention that we have already started in Polokwane, which will help unlock development which has been stifled due to water shortages. We will spend 200 million in that regard. In the Free State, the Caledon River pipeline, we will be working very closely with our water board there to deal with the area of the Harib Dam that supplies water to Mangaung. We also have the Nooit Gedacht low water scheme in the Eastern Cape that seeks to unlock water service provision for both social and economic development in the Kucha region. In Mpumalanga, the Lushushwane bulk water supply within the Gersibande municipality is also targeted to be completed in 2017. We have Namakwa in the Northern Cape that we will also be focusing on, and a total amount of 648 million will be utilized, and 42,500 people will benefit. There will also be an upgrade of the Mokalakwena bulk water supply and Umkomazi water project. We are also committed and working, again, under the notion that water knows no boundary. We will be working with other international bodies in ensuring that indeed we promote peace and stability, prosperity across the world, within Africa and in the SADC region. May I take this opportunity to thank, amongst others, the Director General of the Department and her team, the Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee, together with members of the Portfolio Committee, you South Africans who have been working with us this journey. Remember, it has taken us 22 years to deal with a target of 80% that others failed to do within a year, within 300 years. The life of a black person has to be dignified through the support and the provision of clean water.
Honourable
and
Minister,
decent
your time is
sanitation.
now expired.
Thank you, Nyabo.
Thank you. Honourable members, before I call the next speaker, I just want to welcome our guests in the gallery. I just want to remind you that you are here to observe and not to participate in the proceedings. The next speaker is the Honourable Johnson.
Chairperson, comrades, colleagues, fellow South Africans. Today marks yet another milestone in the history of our democracy through this budget, whose sole object is that of taking our country forward. We gather to recommit ourselves to yet another step in the direction of improving the lives of our people for the better. As the ANC, we stand ready to put the interests of our people at the center of our programs as demanded by our historical mission of serving our people. For these reasons above, as the ANC, we endorse the 15.2 billion rand budget for 2016-2017. Fellow South Africans, water remains a basic human right as it is enshrined in our Constitution. The journey towards provision of safe drinking water and dignified sanitation became one of the priorities of the new ANC-led government in 1994. I must say that this journey was a painful one, as some died, whilst others were forcefully exiled and jailed, lest we forget. It is the same journey that continuously prioritizes the vulnerable human groups, the aged, the women, children, and the disabled. Colleagues, this august House must be on constant reminder that water provision before 1994 stood at 60-odd%. And we can pride ourselves today that this figure has since been reduced tremendously through the strides of the ANC interventions, which today stands at around 10%. Bantu basenjerere, base Lamontville, eferhonoch. President Mandela once said, I quote, "Let there be work, bread, water, and salt for all." Seems as if Madiba knew that one day some among us would go against the wishes of the masses. This begs the question to those who are against this budget: who do they really represent? Fellow South Africans, be warned about who you support with your acts, as some in this House are openly saying no to this budget, a budget whose intention is to improve the lives of ordinary people, the so-called colored, the Indians, the Africans, poor white compatriots, the disabled, the youth, and the women. This budget equally seeks to provide opportunities for black industrialists to thrive. Yet some of us in this very House of Parliament are saying a big no to this progressive budget. Mensa van Musselsplain, Khalishiwe, the people of Wentworth, Bantu Basezwite, these services must be positioned to be at the center of social and economic activities of our people. The recently launched War on Leaks campaign has started yielding some results through raising of awareness among our communities about the need of saving water and protection of our infrastructure. This campaign has started contributing immensely in changing the lives of our young people in our country. This bears testimony that indeed the ANC-led government cares. As this campaign garners shape, embedded in it must be an earnest program of maintenance and protection of our infrastructure, aged or otherwise. Comrade Minister, there is a general consensus across the political landscape that this is a balanced budget that fits for its occasion. This budget is 3.2 less than the 2015-2016 appropriation. However, more can still be done with less, and this is evident in the way in which this vote sets out to address current South African water and sanitation needs. The current needs range from access to water and sanitation services, protection of water resources from pollution to over-exploitation, water demand management, drought relief, and infrastructure development and management. Bantu base Khayelitsha, base OR Tambo, base Madibeng, base Botshabelo. Stats SA General Household Survey of 2014 and the Institute of Race Relations. The South African survey tells us that 90% of households now have access to piped water in 2014, which is an improvement from 79% in 1996. Indeed, South Africa drinks from the tap. On the other side, access to RDP standard sanitation stood at 79% in 2014, which is an improvement from 16% in 1996. This means that only 10% of the household lack access to piped water and 20% of households lack access to RDP standard sanitation. Again, who in his or her right mind will vote against such a revolutionary budget? That person or party does not care about you, the people of Tshwane. They don't care about you, the people of Majakaneng, Manenberg, Vembe, Pongolo, from benefiting from these programs towards changing your lives for the better. To the DA members here and abroad, this budget, once again, you are reminded, it seeks to redress the injustices of the past in the area of access to water and sanitation. You shall all be knowing as to who really is and has been responsible for such injustices. But wako Northwest, wako Free State, KZN, Mpumalanga, Limpopo. South Africa is in the midst of worst drought in at least 2 decades, threatening agricultural output, pushing up food prices, and causing water supply shortages. With an additional 500 million rand to be administered by Agriculture Department and also Rural Development is another confirmation that these votes seeks nothing else but ensuring the availability of water resource, universal access to water and sanitation services, as well as facilitating the equitable and sustainable socio-economic development. Once again, members and supporters of EFF and DA, did you give your leaders a mandate to object to this budget? A budget that seeks to improve your lives for the better. Director General, in terms of infrastructure development and management, it is worth noting that 78% of the total budget of this vote will be spent on infrastructure development. This infrastructure would ensure access to reliable, sustainable, and quality water to 192,000 households, and 26,000 rural households would also have access to sanitation. The young people and businessmen and women of our country. In addition to provision of water and sanitation services, the infrastructure development programs will also create thousands of temporary and permanent job opportunities across the country. These programs will also impart various skills to local communities wherein these projects are implemented. These skills will enable these communities to join the mainland job market, and some even become independent contractors for their local municipalities and communities. These are some of the benefits that would accrue to you, young people and business persons of our beautiful country, through the adoption of this budget. Minister and the DG, in so doing, you shall have done a great deal in helping these black businesses thrive. But when you do such and not pay them in time, you are killing them, thereby reversing the gains we are making in promoting such black business. The focus of this budget over the medium term would be a massive policy reviews in order to align water policies with the National Development Plan and the medium-term strategic framework 2014-2019 priorities, among others. For example, NDP calls for the removal of the legislative impediments to development such as water use license timeframes or turnaround time. In response to this, 80% of the water use authorization applications will be processed within 300 working days from the date of receipt. This will ensure equitable allocation of water resources for social and economic development. Minister and Deputy Minister, as the committee whose task is to oversee your work, we shall indeed play our role more robustly this time around. The review of legislation will also ensure the establishment of the remaining 7 catchment management agencies and the 9 regional water utilities. This would in turn improve the efficiencies and effectiveness in the services in the delivery of water and sanitation services. In conclusion, as the ANC, we look forward to the implementation of your APP and the strategic plan, despite the reduction in budget. As the programs that make up this vote are geared towards ensuring the availability of water resource, facilitate equitable and sustainable socio-economic development, and ensuring universal access to water and sanitation services. For example, the international agreements that are supported through various commissions such as the Lesotho Highland Water Project. It also suffices to quote a French proverb that says, indeed, Rome was not built in one day. This proverb sums it well that with time, all shall be served with enough good quality water and dignified sanitation services. However, it will not happen overnight. That's why in 1996, few households had access to piped water. But today, 90% of the total households in South Africa have access to piped water. It is the 10% that this vote seeks to satisfy while maintaining access of the 90% households. President Madiba taught us well that what counts in life is not the mere fact that we have lived. It is what difference have we made to the lives of others that will determine the significance of our life we lead. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Member. The next speaker is the Honourable Basson.
Chairperson, water is life, sanitation is dignity. This is the slogan of the Department of Water and Sanitation. To achieve this, South Africa needs a government that is committed to uphold the Constitution and place the people of South Africa first. A government that is transparent and have the capability to spend their budget, maintain, upgrade and create new infrastructure to deliver quality water and sanitation. Do you see that government here today? No. Chairperson, if we had an honest and transparent government, it would not have been necessary to bring a PAIA application to release the Blue and Green Drop report. The 2014 Green Drop report is shocking. 824 sewer plants were assessed, receiving 5,000 million litres of sewer per day. These plants are designed to clean 6,500 million litres of sewer daily. In short, there is only 22% capacity available for future demand. In reality, many plants have no surplus capacity and are running at full capacity or overcapacity. According to the 2014 Green Drop report, 84% of sewer plants are in critical risk, high risk or medium risk, with only 16% of sewer plants in low risk. This implying that millions of litres of untreated or inadequately treated sewer is illegally discharged into our river and streams every day. 82% of South African rivers are considered threatened by pollution. This is a result of non-compliance. In the monitoring and enforcement by the Blue Scorpions. In a written reply from the Minister, she indicated that only 85 of the 177 posts are filled, and no officials as yet has been designated as environmental management inspectors in terms of the National Environmental Management Act. This is shocking. Chairperson, Chapter 1 of the Water Act empowers a minister to act on behalf of the nation, and it's the minister's ultimate responsibility to fulfill certain obligations relating to the use, allocation and protection of and access to water resources. This is a constitutional mandate, and Minister Mokonyane should be criminally charged for allowing the pollution of our river streams and groundwater. In a report by Action Aid, it is
Order, honourable
noted
members.
that more than 300 billion must be allocated for spending on infrastructure to avoid a full-scale water crisis over the next 4 years. Currently, only 11.6 billion is budgeted for this in this financial year, and a shortfall of 63.4 million is in this financial year. Despite the huge challenges in infrastructure funding, this department agreed with National Treasury to reduce their budget with 827 million. Why? The answer is simple. The minister knew that they would once again underspend in the financial year, as they did with 2 billion in the 2014-15 financial year, and lost 1.6 billion that was not rolled over to the 2015-16 financial year. The continued non-spending of allocated funds has a knock-on effect, and infrastructure projects needs to be rescheduled year after year. This backlog is becoming bigger and bigger under this government. ANC municipalities and water board owe this Department of Water and Sanitation 2.9 billion, and they seek assistance from COCTA to recover the money from municipalities. In the event that this could not be recovered, the budget will be revised downwards again. It is important to note that no money is owed to the Department of Water and Sanitation by DA-controlled municipalities. Minister, here's your report. For this reason, it is no surprise that 9 out of the top 10 municipalities are governed by the DA, and the 10 worst municipalities are governed by this side of the House. The DA acknowledged that South Africa has made progress in the access of drinking water to our people, but this trend is rapidly reversing due to the crumbling infrastructure under ANC control. Chairperson, 12 months after Maribeng has been placed under administration, and 6 months after I informed this House in November last year, the horror story that the minister never will tell is still continuing. This old lady, Joanna Mweng, who lives in a township called Letlebile in Maribeng, which ironically means place of water, is still rolling a 200-liter drum full of water from a borehole for 2 kilometers to her house, where she had running water just more than 2 years ago. She uses half of her pension money to pay for this water. She is one of millions of South Africans struggling without water. Not because of drought, but because of poor infrastructure, corruption, and mismanagement by the ANC government. South Africa, on the 3rd of August, you've got 2 choices. Stick to this government and be part of the worst-run municipalities in South Africa, suffering without water.
Order, honourable members. The next speaker is the Honourable Kaula.
Ngibonge sihlalo. Ngicela nithule bafethu ngizosiza nina la. Port Elizabeth ku-Ward 24 abantu bahlala nomfulo onukayo phu uSwarkop. Ayikho into eyenziwayo ukuthi abantu bathola amanzi
Order, honourable
ahlanzekile.
members.
Ayi, ngiyadinga mama. Laphaya kwaZulu Natal eMoy River ku Ward 3 amanzi awekho kodwa emgwaqweni uthola amapipe aqhumile aqhaphaka itamkoko ngicela nibuke ukuthi zinjani. Minister, imali zabantu kobelungu ngeke uyibone yenzeka lento. Kuphonseka ngisho abatwana. Ngilaleleni ngiqondene nani ngqo ngizonisiza. Ndawo ezinenkinga kakhulu iseMayville e101 inkinga yakhona kwakhiwa izindlu lohulumeni enilonithi uyaqhuba asimfuna uhulumeni oqhuba asifuna usebenzela abantu abana toilet abantu bakuleya ndawo abana gesi abanamanzi bonke abantu besifazane basebenzisa itoilet elilodwa basebenzisa itoilet elilodwa buka nje isihlazo 23 years nibusa. Wash out Makondo.
All honorable members.
Phoenix. Ngifuna ulalela njalo minister sixabani ngiyakusiza. Abantu abamnyama amanzi mabengenawo kuthiwa banezikweletu. Kuvalwa impompi kuthiwa basebenzisa imali kaNkulu phuca wonke amanzi. Kodwa Phoenix kunompompi lapha ku Ward 54 kwaRatane. Leli toilet liyaqhaqhaza 24 hours. Kanjalo lo mpompi njengoba umpompi lo uvuza kuze kuyosa. Ngicela nilalele ngoba mina ngikhulumela abantu bakithi abamnyama. Nina nibanakile enhlobo. Sifuna uhulumeni ozonaka abantu bakithi. Hayi azolokho ekubhizi ethi uvikelana nomangameli. Ufuna umuntu azovikela abantu bakithi ukuthi abantu bathola into zawo. Ngiyadlula njalo. Ngoba isikhathele nina. CEFF sizimisele ukubona abantu bala eSouth Africa bephuza amanzi ahlanzekileyo ikakhulukazi emakhaya bayahlupheka abantu besifazane babeletha izingane baya emfuleni bokha amanzi bavika izingwenya lapha eshoni yayazi inkinga yakhona kodwa ayikho into ekhulunywayo instead of that nina nakhela abamhlophe amadamu kudlula amapayipi ayophuza kojozini and nalento le endonicula ngayo la yokuthi khona lento yokuthi njalo nje isomiso noma izulu likhona nina inkinga yenu njengohulumeni weANC nina lento yokuthi anifuni ucabangela abantu abamnyama bala eSouth Africa abawumsinsi wokuzimilela ikakhulukazi nibdila nabentshonalanga and lento isiphatha kambi and yasihlukumeza thina ukuthi kanti yonke leminyaka thina sasilwela obani. Minister, mina ngiyacela ungabalaleli.
Honorable member, your time is now expired.
Wena lalela thina sizokusiza thina. Uzuma unamanzi lapha yana. Unayo yonke into. Asivumi le budget.
Honorable member, your time is expired.
Hayi ngicela ukunika uminister ithombe.
Order, honorable members. The next speaker is the Honorable Tebekulu. Honorable Kaula, will you go this way, please? There's another speaker there. Thank you.
Thank you, House Chair.
Order, honorable members.
Honorable House Chair, as the department is a new department and has the added function of delivering sanitation services.
Order, honorable members.
And as South Africa is still in the midst of a water and sanitation crisis, we would have expected the department to have received a greater budget. Drought conditions continue to ravage our country. Our dams are at a critically low levels. Livestock and agricultural produce are suffering. We have had to import millions of tons of maize just to ensure sufficient food security levels for our people over the coming months. This drought as well has led to food price hikes, Chairperson. Yet, we are not being proactive about maintaining the little water we do have. Alien plants exist in abundance, and research advice has consumed inadequate amounts of water. We continue to pollute our surface water, and the fact that we are even considering fracking, which could pollute our entire underground water table, is just ludicrous. Mines are another source of large-scale water pollution. We have been warning this government about the dangers of acid mine water for years now, only to be met with ridicule from ministers and departments. Well, now we have serious problem and no effective solution to deal with it. Another grave source of pollution is by our local municipalities who have failing dismally at the maintenance, upkeep, and management of sewage pipes, which often burst and lead to waste effluent entering our streams and rivers. This contributes greatly to both human and livestock illnesses. Honorable Chairperson, why is it that we do not maximize and conserve the water we have? Precious water is simply allowed to flow into the sea. More dams must be built. Chairperson, this department also has the responsibility of building or funding the building of bulk water reservoirs to assist local municipalities with storage of water. Without water, businesses cannot prosper. Water is key in terms of agricultural irrigation, which is the leading sector in water usage, followed by mining and industry, and then human beings. Water is life, yet it is not being prioritized and safeguarded by government. Greater planning, oversight, and accountability will ensure proper service delivery. I thank you. And I feel supports the budget.
Thank you, Honourable Member.
This is alive.
The next speaker is the Honourable Shilembe.
I've asked for, Bongi is doing a piece. Can I just...
Thank you.
This wise will be live at
Honourable Chairperson.
12, at 11.
South Africa is currently in the grip of a crippling drought which is creating havoc
Yes, but
with
I
our
will
water
just say
reserves.
additional questions.
In some provinces, people have to rely on untreated water from the muddy dams and rivers, which they have to share with livestock and wild animals.
Kana Goma.
Elsewhere, others stand in long queues for water tankers which may or may not come on any particular day, such as the resident of Imbali in Pietermaritzburg. More specifically, those living in Unit BB, Watamboza and Sanitation, where they often go 3 to 4 days at a time without water and are forced to go to other areas to fetch water. When we look at the budget for the Department of Water and Sanitation, it becomes easy to see why we have a situation where our people do not have universal access to clean, safe drinking water.
Yes,
It also becomes easy to see why some of our people still have to suffer the indignity of bucket toilets. The toilet budget the total budget allocation to the water and sanitation needs of our people is 15.7 billion, an amount which the NFP believes is totally inadequate. It is outrageous that the allocation for this department has been reduced rather than increased at a time when we face critical water shortages. Honorable Minister, the NFP believes that we should learn from the current drought, acknowledge that government was caught unprepared despite all warning signals of the imminent arrival of the El Nino cycle, and start planning now to deal with this cycle more effectively in future. With this in mind, the NFP finds it incredulous to note that the administration program is allocated more funds than the water planning and information management program and the water and sanitation service program combined. How is this possible? Even more bizarre is the decrease in the allocation for the water and sanitation services program from the previous financial year and the further projected decrease for the 2018-2019 financial year. Honourable Minister, how is it possible to decrease the allocation for the delivery of sanitation at a time when we are faced with an unprecedented urbanization rate? How is that we can reduce this program funding when we still have people using the bucket toilet system, which impairs their dignity in the very same way they suffered under apartheid? The NFP wishes to extend an invitation to the Honourable Minister to come pay a visit to Zululand District Municipality where the NFP is in governance. Come see what efforts we have made to provide our people with clean and safe drinking water. Come see the absence of bucket toilets. We believe that it is possible to provide all South Africans with clean and safe drinking water and dignified sanitation if the political will is present. The NFP will continue to provide this basic service to our people and will do so in all the municipalities where we will govern after the local government elections. Water is a basic right, and the NFP understands that very well. Our people shall have water, and that is not a promise, it is an undertaking. Yafuna ukuqinisekisa ukuthi singakuthathi sakudlala abanye ongqongqoshe abagadela ukungaphephi, bagadela ukuthi abawezi umsebenzi wabo abadelive bese abantu beyatoyitoya
Honourable
beshisa
Member, your time
amathanda.
is now expired.
Hello.
In conclusion,
Your time is expired, Honourable
NFP,
Member.
Good morning.
Thank you.
Good morning. Is that Kathy?
The next speaker is the Honourable, the Deputy Minister of Water and Sanitation.
Mandibulele sihlalo obekekileyo. Ndibulise ungqongqosha wezamanzi nezogutyulo lelindle uNomvula Mokonyane namasekela akhoyo apha kwindlu yomiso mthetho. Ndibulise amalungu onke eParlamente akhoyo. Ndibulise iibhodi zamanzi esizaziyo ukuba ziyasebenza. Sibulise indwendwe zethu ezilapha zonke manene nani manenekazi. Imbali yeli lizwe iyimbali yocalucalulo ngokobuhlanga. Iinkonzo zikamasipala phambi kuka-1994 bezijoliswe kubamhlophe kuphela. Yiyo loo nto ufumanisa u-Honourable Basone ephethe iifoto zabantu abamnyama. Asoze kubekho umuntu omhlophe oqhuba ikirive ethatha kude amanzi. Asiyoyiki loo foto ngoba siyayazi uba kusakhona abantu abaqhubayo besuka kude. Nina nalungisela nina nedwa ngexesha leni. Yiyo le nto uphethe ikirive khawuphathe ezabelungu. Akho nomnye umlungu ozawuqhuba ikirive othatha kunye amanzi. Because ngo-1994 benijonga abantu benu bodwa khanisiyekeni senze umsebenzi nabantu bethu abamnyama. Kwiindawo zabantsundu iinkonzo ezifana amanzi nelindle bezifumana kwiindawo zikawonkewonke phaya ezidolophini. Ukanti emakhaya abantsundu bebesela imilanjeni besebenzisa iintili amahlathi namatyholo ukuzinceda ngasese. Kunjanje bamatyholo anothetha imbali yawo angasixela into ezinkulu. Sibulela urhulumente we-ANC ngokubuyisa izidima zethu. Sihlalo njengoko sonke siqabela ukuba le nyanga yinyanga yabasebenzi. Khawuze nofoto omlungu oqhuba amanzi. Olu hlahlo lwabiwo-mali lifana nabani batoyitosayo ezitratweni ihlale ezindlini nina. Lusekeleze ekuphuliseni iimpula zikalijaxa abangenandawo ingakumbi oomama nolutsha. Yiyo le nto sithi namhlanje sizenza ulwahlulo-mali ukujongisa koba kwezo mpula zikalijaxa ezingazange silungiselelwe yi-DA. Sihlalo ulwabiwo-mali maluqonde njengesicwangciso sokusebenza nokukhanyisela amagama asele nendawo nemihlaba eselisihambile ekuphuhliseni imeko zokuphila kwethu. In the last financial year, the department assembled women in Gauteng from the length and breadth of our country to engage them on mechanisms and strategies in the development of water and sanitation infrastructure. These women represented planners in the government, public representatives, community-based organizations, non-governmental organizations, academic institutions, women in water and sanitation, and the business sector. These women are now working with the department as part of Women Incubator Program. Sihlalo, I am pleased to report that Prince Albert II of Monaco Foundation will be presenting the Water Research Commission with the 2016 Water Award for outstanding commitment to providing sustainable access to water resource, water supply and sanitation in South Africa on the 30th June 2016. In cooperation and collaboration, departments with Operation Department with various provinces, municipalities and the business sector assure continued provision of water in areas that were severely affected by drought, especially in the KwaZulu-Natal and Mpumalanga and Free State. Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs has now called on municipalities to set aside up to 8% of their operational budget for the maintenance of water and sanitation infrastructure. We have always maintained that government cannot work alone, and to that effect, we are grateful for the citizenship that has been displayed by various business partners in providing relief to drought-affected areas in our country. Operation Hydrate has to date supplied over 3 million liters of drinking water to various municipalities at Pedi in the Eastern Cape and Windberg in the Free State. Also, business partners in the construction industry have made undertaking to contribute to skills development in the water sector as part of youth development. In the partnership with business partners, once again, we have exposed and connected more than 3,500 learners and 100 educators in the latest technology. 5 meter classrooms were awarded in the last financial year to 5 schools in the Free State, Eastern Cape, Gauteng, KwaZulu-Natal, and Western Cape. Thank you to MTN. Civil society partnership established during the last financial year resulted in the development of water and sanitation community forums in 21 of 27 district municipalities. This work will continue in this financial year. These forums will underpinned by common terms of reference adopted at the national level. Through newly established water and sanitation hotline, members of the public will have a central point where they can access information and register water and sanitation service challenges. Hotline will ensure speedy response and improve customer satisfaction level. The toll-free number, Mamelan, the toll-free number is 0800 200 200, and the SMS is Siakuba. The SMS, Mamelan 4517, is accessible between Yaingeko Lendo, Mamelan, between 8 a.m. and 10 p.m. weekdays, our Mamel, and 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. on weekends. The War on Leaks program, which you are against the program, was launched in Nelson Mandela Bay on August 2015, and currently, currently has about 3,000 trainees that are in the system as plumbers, water agents, and for the first time in South Africa. Viva ANC, viva! At the beginning of the project, experienced some challenges, which included the following. We know that there were long distances between training facilities and areas of distance of some trainees. Some trainees confused this training into employment. These have since been resolved, and our recent visit to Mpumalanga is shown that both administration and trainees in the facilities are happy that the minister, my minister, and the president brought this War on Leaks training. For the first time, they are the students. Na babantwana bam, la, siyakuba. nina nilibele kumathisa abantu abamnyama ezitratweni nihlala apha nanimhlophe. Department is quest to deliver water and sanitation in our people. Considered importance of building relations, strategic global partners, and their critical.
Order.
In the past financial year, the department prioritized engagement based on foreign strategic policy of the country led by Department of International Relations and Cooperation. These were interventions to share expertise, transfer skills, technology, share notes, and collaborate on different platforms and invest in the water sector development programs. Through this partnership, South Africa Water and Sanitation will enhance and broaden our scope on water mix and maximize the use of groundwater. We are happy to report that the multilateral participation at the highest level will allow South Africa to influence the global agenda and narrative on water and further enhance the Africa position derived from Agenda 2063 and our own national development plan in its related indicators and priorities. The quality of water, Mamela de Passon, the quality of water service operation in South Africa is reflected in the blue and green results. Most of municipalities are now active participants in the blue drop certification and green drop assessment. I don't know about the report here we touch up, or the potable water and wastewater. In the quality of drinking water has improved for this better and engagement of water, greatly reduced raw sewer spillages into the river. It has been done through rehabilitation of wastewater treatment plants across the country.
Much as possible, at least
the recent drought conditions in the country mobilized all the water services authorities to audit their infrastructure, to plan for improved infrastructure and use modern technology in the water provision and sanitation. The department currently have detailed water and sanitation services needs and plans integrated 2016-2017 financial budget plans. These are also accompanied with new technological innovations. In this new integrated wastewater treatment and reuse package technological system has an instant use capability which enables it to direct discharge water that helps to replenish the natural water resource. Secondly,
Honorable Deputy Minister, your time is up.
Siyayixhasa ibudget single African National Congress.
Because if you look at this problem,
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Minister of Water and Sanitation. I will now call upon Honorable Member T. Makondo.
Young women in that age group, 16 to 24, are 8 times more likely to get HIV/AIDS than boys in the same age group. So
niyimele bandara African National Congress ku seketela budget ya Department ya Water and Sanitation. Hi siku ra 27 Ndzhati 2016 tiko ra Afrika-Dzonga ri tlangele siku ra ntshunxeko. Mutshamaxitulu, ntirho lowu a wu khomeriwe erivaleni ra mitlangu ra Giyani. Vanhu va tile hi xitalo magidigidi ya vona kusuka matlhelo hinkwawo ya Giyani ne le kusuhi ku ta yingisela mbulavulo wa president. Xa vumbirhi, vanhu va le Giyani a va lava ku khensa mfumo wa ANC loko wu tisile xintshunxo eka nkayivelo wa mati lowu a wu ri kona eGiyani. Mutshamaxitulu, sweswi ndzi vulavulaka mati ya kona eGiyani, na loko ka ha sele miganga ya 29 leyi nga kumeki mati hi xitalo siku hinkwaro. Vanhu va ka hina va tshemba no swi tiva leswaku mfumo wa ANC wu le ku lunghiseni swiphiqo swa wona. Hikokwalaho Ndzawulo ya mati na nkululo hi ku tirhisana na bodo ya mati ya Lepelle ku nga khampani ya ndzawulo ve le ku hoxeni ka tiphayipi leti nga ta endla leswaku vanhu va ka hina va kuma mati hi ku hetiseka. Tiphayipi leti a ti ri kona ta asbestos ti helele hi nkarhi kumbe lifespan hi xilungu. Hikokwalaho a ti pfutisa mati ma nga swi koti ku fikelela vanhu va ka hina hi ku hetiseka. Mutshamaxitulu, hambiloko mavandla yo kaneta ya nga ya emahlweni ma vukula, vanhu va ka hina va rhandza ANC naswona va yi tshemba ku tlula swiphataphatana leswi ngo fika sweswi. Hambi ku ri lava EFF va nga hlambanya kwala palamende va ku vanhu va le Giyani va nge kumi mati, vo salela ku nyuma sweswi hikwalaho vanhu va le Giyani va kota ku kuma mati. Lava DA na vona hi fambe na vona ku ya kambisisa ntirho lowu ndzawulo yi nga ku endleni le Giyani. Nkulukumba Leon Basson u tlhele a vulavula na vaakatiko va Giyani hi ku tirhisa radio station ya Giyani, a khensa ndzawulo ya mati eka ntirho lowu yi nga ku endleni. U tlhele a vula leswaku u tsakisiwe hi planti yo basisa mati leyi va Lepelle va nga yi aka. Ho hlamala loko namuntlha la a ta bahuwa ku ri ku wa swi tiva leswaku ndzawulo yi le ku tirheni. Chairperson, South Africa remains at the top of the driest and water-scarce country in the world, and amongst the hit hard by drought in Southern Africa. The ANC will continue to ensure that in this program, water planning and information management, we balance the equitable allocation of water for domestic use and economic development. Since 1994, over 90% of our people, especially those who were marginalized systematically by the apartheid regime, have drinkable water. And those who do not have access to water, they must know that the ANC government have got programs and plan to ensure that they have drinkable water. Currently, we have got 2 catchment management agencies in South Africa. The Department of Water and Sanitation is in the process of establishing new 7 catchment management agencies to bring them to 9.
It's a whole lot of activity.
These catchment management agencies will go a long way in managing our water resource and rehabilitating our river system. These catchment management agencies will also assist in monitoring those who pollute our water resource and pose danger to our environment. Government will come up with concrete permanent solution to acid mine drainage over the medium term to avoid the imminent danger in which is about to happen. Part of our solution will be to resolve fragmentation of legislation in awarding of mining licenses, which will ensure that all departments involved work together. Chairperson, the principle of polluter pays must be seen to be working, not just a slogan. Blue Scorpion must be visible in mining areas and not come when the crisis has emerged. Chairperson, local government will have to take its space in terms of maintaining water and sanitation infrastructure. We urge big companies which have financial capacity to come to the party in employing alternative solutions in conserving our water resource by recycling or reuse so that those who do not have water get water. Mtshamaxitulu, hi hluvula xidloko eka tikhampani to fana na Coca-Cola na Avis leti hlayisaka mati. Coca-Cola yi hlantswa mabodlele ya vona hi nkahelo kumbe xitimi. Loko Avis hi lembe kusukela 2007 kufika 2014 va kote ku hlayisa mati kwalomu ka tilitara ta 557 million. Hikwalaho ka ku basisa mati lama matirheke kumbe leswi vongo i recycling. We appreciate the work of the department and the ministry for revising the water use license regulatory framework in accordance with the integrated license approach. This will go a long way in transforming the regulatory regime for water licenses and will address and advance sustained growth and boost investor confidence. Hi ku hetisela Mtshamaxitulu, a hi ta kombela leswaku mi nyika Honorable Xilembe nkarhi wa ku va ta sapota budget hi ku mani Magwaza Msivi va ta va kwate ngopfu hi ku a va swi kotangi ku sapota budget leyiwa. Inkomu Mtshamaxitulu.
500,000 new
Thank you,
people, we have
Honorable T. Makondo. I will now call
85,000
upon
people.
Honorable
We might be wrong,
A.D.
it's just an
Alberts.
estimate according to our analysis and calculation.
Thank you, Chairperson. Minister, as South Africa currently tiptoes at the edge of another session of load shedding with a barrage of television warnings that we need to switch off all appliances and lights, few people in this country knows how close we are teetering on the edge of water shedding. Wat wel alreeds 'n algemene gesig is in bykans elke dorp is die afvoer van afval in riviere en damme, die swak onderhoud van waterstelsels, die styging van swaar metale in ons watervoorraad, die vernietiging van riviere, vleie en die omringende ekostelsels waar swaar industrieë, veral myne bedryf word en die minachtende houding wat vele stadsrade het as dit by waterbestuur kom. What we find the most disconcerting aspect of the silent water crisis creeping up on us are the plans of the government that have in store for us in the future. As if it is not enough that the government did not plan for the cyclical droughts that hit the country roughly every 30 years or so, we now find ourselves on the precipice of a catastrophe of epic proportions due to what the ANC has planned for the future. We need to prepare ourselves as the ANC is continuing its plans, despite Finance Minister Gordon and ex-Minister Nene's warnings, to introduce that wonderful feature of nuclear power that is going to gobble up millions of litres of water. But wait, that is not all. The ANC is offering us a package deal. You see, together with the nuclear option, we will also receive the complementary gift of extensive fracking in the Karoo, but surely also soon to be seen at a town near you. The gift will ensure that all the water arteries in the Karoo will eventually be contaminated. Die ANC het vir 21 jaar min indien enige aandag gegee aan die onderhoud van waterinfrastruktuur in die land. Net soos Eskom wat gedink het planne vir die toekoms is nie nodig nie, so het die talle munisipaliteite, provinsiale regering en die ANC regering op nasionale vlak gedink, die fietjies gaan die waterstelsels in stand hou. Now the chickens have come home to roost in a dry and dangerous country. I guess we can't complain about the lack of excitement due to the ANC's inability to plan and lack of insight into the dangers posed by Wild West ventures like fracking. But this is what one gets when arrogance meets greed and the ANC just wants to start projects to line their own pockets. The fact is that we do not need the power generated from nuclear or fracking, as Eskom is itself complaining about its diminished client base. Die probleme rakende kragopwekking is besig om op sigself opgelos te word en daarom is enige planne om waterbesoedelende projekte aan te pak nie meer nodig nie. Die departement moet hom nou eerder toespits om die basiese reg te kry, soos die onderhoud van die waterstelsels in Suid-Afrika, al die nasionale waterstelsels en die behoorlike vervolging van diegene wat besoedel, wat wel nie gebeur nie. Ons kan maar net kyk wat in elke dorp gebeur, en hoe afval in die waterstelsel inkom en in die riviere afvloei, en hoe elke rivier bykans, omtrent elke rivier in Nelspruit en in omgewing as ook in die Hoëveld vernietig is weens onwettige mynaktiwiteite of aktiwiteite wat wel gedoog word deur die regering waar nie behoorlike lisensies uitgegee is of waterregte bekom is nie. Meneer Minister, dit is uiteindelik jou verantwoordelikheid om te verseker ons land se waterbronne is skoon en veilig. Ons is egter baie bekommerd want ons sien dit nie gebeur nie. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member Alberts. I'll now call upon Honorable Member eNCA Bilankulu.
Mchabseki msamu wa xitulu, holo dzemana na Mokonyane, xandla xa holo dzemana na Tshwete, vachabiseki hinkwerhu, vuyeli bya hina, va matlharhi ni va swirhundu, vaakatiko va Afrika-Dzonga, ndza mi losa avuxeni. Hi ri African National Congress hi seketela mpimanyeto lowu averiweke ndzawulo. A hi fani na lava nga tshama ka voko leri. A va nge pfuki va kote ku mi tirhela nchumu hi ku xa vona i ku ta alana na hinkwaswo. Ku tirhela vaaki mi swi tirha ntsena loko mi ri na mali leyi pimanyetiweke ku mi ta yi tirhisa mi tlhela mi pfumelelana na yona. Mutshami wa xitulu, ndzi twa ndzi xiximiwe ngopfu ku va un'wana wa lava va nga ni xiave eka njhekanjhekisano wa mpimanyeto wa timali wa ndzawulo ya mati na nkululo. Vhoti ya 36. Mati i vutomi kasi nkululo i vutinyungubyisi bya hina. ANC I government leyi nga ku tirheleni ka ku antswisa vutomi bya vanhu. Ndzi rhandza ku hoyozela Holobye Mokonyane eka ku nghenelela ka n'wina endzhaku ka loko ku ve na hungu ra ku Giyani a yi nga vi na mati naswona na sweswi a yi na mati. Eka tiko ra Giyani hi karhi hi vona mihandzu ya ku nghenelela ka n'wina. Mati ya kona ya le ku humeni eka miganga ya ku ringana 54 laha migingiriko ya ku andlala tiphayiphi ya ha yaka emahlweni ku andlariwa ku angarhela muti hinkwawo wa Giyani. Ku engeteriwa ka khumbi ra Tsanini Dam, ku akiwa ka N'wamitwa Dam laha ntirho wu nga ta sungula hi n'hweti ya Hukuri 2016. Mintirho yi to va matutu vana va Ntavasi. Hi vona ku nghenelela ka n'wina eka xibedhlele xa Khensani laha na kona a ku nga ri na mati. Nakambe hi vona vukorhokeri bya n'wina emugangeni wa Tikiline laha na kona a va nga ri na mati sweswi va nga na ti-Jojo tanks leti va kumaka tona mati. Hi ri khani mamba manani, yisani amahlweni ku tirhela vaaki. Eka mbulavulo wa mupresidente eka manifesto launch u te na n'wi encenyeta. ANC yi tiyisisa ku yimela ku ya emahlweni yi aka rixaka ro kala xihlawuhlawu eka tindzimi, rimbewu, ku hlanganela ntshunxeko na ku humelela ka rixaka. ANC I nhlangano wu ri woxe lowu nga ni nongonoko wa mafambiselo ya vukorhokeri eka vaaki. Wu tlhela wu va ni mpimanyeto na ku seketela minkavelo leyi nyikiwaka eka tindzawulo. A hi fani na laha. Eka 22 wa malembe lama hi nga kona, hi kotile ku yisa vukorhokeri kumbe ku nghenisa mati emindyangwini eka 90% 90%, na nkululo eka 75.5 wa tiphesente 75.5%. Mphakelo wa mati ya mahala eka swisiwana hi lembe ra 2007 a hi ri eka 7,225,387, kasi hi 2013 hi le ka 11,734,526. Mutshami wa xitulu, I ntiyiso lowu heleleke leswaku hi ri government leyi nga mfumo lowu nga rhangeriwa hi African National Congress hi kote ku khumba vutomi bya vanhu vo tala lava a va tsoniwe lunghelo ra mphakelo wa mati yo tenga. Sweswi ni vulavulaka ku na ku nghenelela loku va ku endleke va ndzawulo hi ku rhangeriwa hi Manani Mokonyane. Hi vulavula hi muti wa Bushbuckridge eMpumalanga laha ku nga na switandi swa 14 leswi na swona va nga vona ku a swi nga ri na mati va nga kota ku nghenelela swi nga na mati sweswi. Hi vulavula hi le Northwest Province lava a Madiveni va vulavula ku hi kona lava nga tshama hala naka ka mutirhi la sweswi va nga ku endleni ku vona leswaku vanhu va kona va kuma mati. Hi vulavula hi le Eastern Cape Amakana, hi vulavula hi le KwaZulu Natal la Mankhawula va humaka kona. Ku na ti-plan leti ministara va nga na tona ta ku vona leswaku mati ma va kona. Kasi ku na ti-programs leti nga kona ku antswisa ni ku fikelerisa hungu eka vaaki. Hi ta hlangana le handle nkulukumba ta mi hlamusela. Ku na ti-programs leti nga kona, Adopt a River, War on Leaks na Water Recycling leyi nga sungula a Free State Province. Water and Sanitation yi tlhela yi va yi ri na ti-forums leti lava ku fikelerisa hungu eka vaaki hinkwavo. Mutshami wa xitulu, tolo Holobye Mokonyane a va ri karhi va lonja Vusta bulk water supply leyi nga ta phakela ku tlula 146,000 wa mati eka vaaki. Ku ri nongonoko wa ku herisa nkayivelo wa mati. Yingiselani. There is a realization and emphasis in South Africa that water and sanitation services generate substantial benefits to human health, the economy as a whole, and the environment. Access to clean drinking water and sanitation reduces health risks and frees up time for education and other productive activities, as well as increases the productivity in the labor force. In 22 years, there is something that we did.
Honorable Member, don't address them.
Improve the quality of surface waters which benefit the environment, as well as economic sectors that depends on water as a resource. For an example, fishing, agriculture, and tourism.
Order, honorable members.
This is clearly illustrated in the way in which budget allocation program for water and sanitation services have decreased from 1,366,492 billion in 15-16 to 701,945 million in 16-17. With an emphasis on the importance of local government structures mandated and taking responsibilities for water and sanitation services provision. The decentralization of function of water and sanitation services from national to local has been strongly underpinned by the prescripts in the Constitution of South Africa. In the Constitution of South Africa, 1996, the prerequisite application of the National Water Act, Water Service Act, the Public Finance Management Act, and the Municipal Financial Management Act. These fundamental pieces of legislation act as strong accountability measures to access the importance of investing and turning finance into services for 2015 and beyond at national, provincial, and local spheres of government to ensure that all citizens have access to safe and equitable water and sanitation services. Water and sanitation services to ensure access to all citizens has been a fundamental important principle in our evolving democracy. But increasingly over time, the fundamental right to basic water and sanitation also opened the debate on how improvement in water and sanitation can also yield massive returns on investment. Nakambe kuna nongonoko lowu pfunetaka varimi lava pfumalaka. 1,348 wa varimi va pfunetiwile hi timali ku endla migero eka swifundzha hinkwaswo. 188 Eastern Cape, and then 84 Free State, 179 KwaZulu-Natal, 608 Mpumalanga, 102 Northern Cape, 15 Northwest Province, 172 Western Cape. Inongonoko lowu ndzawulo yi endlile 318 wa mintirho. 862 wa mathangi ya nyikeriwile eka varimi lava nga se hluvukaka. Varimi hinkwavo lava nga pfunetiwa hi swa timali hi nhluvukiso wa swa vurimi. Swilo leswi swi va swi endlaku hi leswi hi ri African National Congress hi nga teka swiboho aka conference ya hina ya 53 a Mangaung hi 2012. A ho endla ntsena hi endla hi ku kuna swifambiso leswi nga kona swi hi fambisaka. According to the AMCO study, water supply and sanitation in South Africa, turning finance into services for 2015 and beyond, the enabling environment for facilitating service delivery in South Africa is well developed, and South Africa has performed well with respect to the developing building blocks.
Honorable Member, your time is up.
Vaakatiko mi ti vonela ku ya hlawula lava nga tlhelo leri a va nga mi pfuni hi nchumu. Yana ni mahlweni hi ti 3rd August mi ya fotela African National Congress hi supporta budget.
Thank you, Honorable Member Bilankulu. I will now call upon Honorable Member T.E. Baker.
The best laid plans of mice and men often go awry. These are the words of Robert Burns. You see, honourable members, the ability to plan is not a problem for the Department of Water and Sanitation. The implementation of these plans is its Achilles heel. Minister, you should not stand here and speak so proudly of Mokonyane. The people in Mtuba in St. Lucia have not had water since the 9th of April this year. Bushbuck Ridge, how dare you? People have been killed in service delivery protests for water in Bushbuck Ridge. Shame on you, ANC. Now, phase 2 of the Lesotho Water Highlands project has been hailed as the panacea which will put pay to water shortages in the Gauteng. All well and good, but this project should have been up for completion in 2018 at a cost of under 10 billion rand. The targeted date has now been moved to 2024 at an increased cost of 24 billion rand, which means an additional 6 years of water cuts for Gauteng residents. The raising of the Hazelmere Dam Wall project, another story of delays. This project was first approved in 2011 with a budget of 91 million rand. We are told that construction has now begun with an increased budget of, wait for it, 359 million rand with no fixed completion target date as yet. Further inland, we have the Umzinyathi district and the story of a 36-kilometer pipeline which is to pump water from the Craigieburn Dam to the town of Greytown. The targeted date for this is already 3 years late, with a new date set for July 2017. First conceived in 2008, agreements were only finalized in 2014. Construction began in 2015. Initial budget, 290 million rand. Currently, 500 million rand. Let's move further afield to a province plagued by the most violent service delivery protests in the country, Limpopo. Over a period of more than 10 years, 500 million rand has already been spent, and yet the problems still persist. August 2014, the Wonder Woman, Minister of Water and Sanitation, arrives to declare an end to the water woes of the people of Mokonyane is in sight. A task team was formed and a budget of 96.4 million rand was allocated. Within just 3 months, this budget escalated to 502.6 million rand. How in the world? And yet, honourable members, sadly, the water woes of Limpopo, just like the budget, have also escalated to an intolerable level. The bucket eradication program, Minister, really, another story of deadlines missed over and over again. First initiated in 2005, 91% of the targeted 252,254 toilets was achieved by the end of March 2008. A remarkable achievement in just 3 years by the ANC government of that time. The remaining 9% should have been a walk in the park. Fast forward to 2016, and here we sit with a budget of 975 million rand and a backlog of 88,000, 67,000 or 55,000, who knows, it changes all the time. That's the number of buckets still in informal settlements today. How in the world is this even possible? Green drop reports, well now there's a disaster for you. 66% of the country's assessed wastewater treatment plants are currently listed as being in critical condition. 44 plants in the Free State and 40 in Mpumalanga. No wonder the streets of Embelentle, Imalashleni, Sienakal, Zastron are flowing with sewage. The top 10 best performing plants, which scored 95% or above, are found in the Western Cape, followed by the KZN. Gauteng received a mere 5 Green Drop Awards. But the biggest shocker, wait for it, is Tshwane, where none of the plants received a Green Drop Award, not even one. Top performing metro, City of Cape Town, welcome to the city. No surprise, because where the DA governs, we govern well.
Order.
Now let's just consider for a moment the impact the current drought has had on ordinary
Honourable
South
members,
Africans.
order.
The department's response to this disaster can best be described as lackadaisical. In most cases, only taking action after the damage was done. Much too little, honourable members, much too late. We have reports of over 627 towns and 47 dams which ran out of water in the past year alone. I put it to you, honourable members, that just like the President, so too has the Minister violated the rights of millions of South Africans by depriving them of their right to water. She too should be brought to task for this flagrant negligence to protect and uphold the Constitution of our country. Fellow South Africans, yes, you must listen. The time for change is now. Bring on the 3rd of August. The DA is ready to govern. Yes!
Order. Thank you, Honourable Member Baker. I will now call upon Honourable D. Mguni.
Honourable Chairperson, Minister Nomvula Mokonyane, Deputy Minister Pemtswete, honourable members, ladies and gentlemen. May I start by supporting budget vote 36 allocation on water and sanitation on behalf of the ANC. Honourable Baker, you know, all the increases that you see is because of the world economic downturn that is causing that. The budget is always reviewed because we want that to be done accordingly by this government. Number two, Honourable Tebekulu, the decreasing of the budgets, it's not done by the minister or the department. It is done by the treasury because of the same economic meltdown. So it's a directive, it's not the minister. Honourable Shelembe, Albert, you spoke about fracking and nuclear. This is the Department of Water and Sanitation. It is not the Department of Mineral and Energy. If you want to go and debate, go to that one. I heard Honorable Lion Beck, you said the DA's municipalities are well run in terms of sanitation.
Order.
Go to Kaelisha and see what is happening. What is happening in Kaelisha? People do not have access to basic sanitation.
Order.
They share inadequate temporary facilities like chemical toilets and bopota. You are a disgrace because you only spend 1% of the total percentage on the formal and informal settlement in Kaelisha. You are really a disgrace. In the past, the water and sanitation infrastructure development with the required investment and capital funding and financing was limited to certain geographical wide sections of South Africa. But post-1994, the ANC government, in working towards meeting its right-based obligation, has had to make major decisions relying on investment, funding and financing towards water and sanitation infrastructure development to promote efficiency, establish sound and consistent sector policies, and supporting institutional arrangement for the execution of sustainable, economic and equitable water and sanitation infrastructure citizens. Honorable Leon, coming back to you, you have shown us some pictures of a person pushing drums of water here. Why didn't you assist that person? What car were you driving? A Mercedes? Honorable Kaula, I tried to look at your pictures. They were not visible. Did you take them at night? Next time you must use a flashlight so that you can see them more.
Honorable members, screaming in the house disturbs the decorum of the house. I'm addressing all of you, honorable members. Order.
Noma bewuhlala nabo kitchen girl noma i-garden boy njengoba bebasibita bebanganandzaba nawo manje bafuna siguquleke lokho nga-22 years noma bangayivumi le budget maphiciphici konke lokhu kubuya kulomkhulu wabo phela uHenrik Verwoerd lowathi sivele simnyama asinangcono samuka nemalungelo lokwatibalo ngoba
Honorable member, Mguni, take your seat. What are you rising on, honorable member?
Ngithi ungikhuzele kwisikhulumi lapha ukuthi lokho ebese kusho esikusho yimi siyayiphuphela nje akaze ngize ngikusho.
Honorable member, your point of order is not sustained. Proceed, honorable member.
Ubuya kulomkhulu wabo Henrik Verwoerd wathi sivele simnyama asinangcono samuka nemalungelo lokwatibalo ngoba wathi thina asitasebenzisa kuphi. In 20 years in democracy labatukulu babo bayayifuna ngodliye ema-university ngisho nasemandini imbala le math. The black majority capability was really undermined, which still exists in the minds of most of the DA members. Mandulo bafika ngathi bayasithanza njengoba benda manje. Emva kwaloko balintshontsha lelive basisusa endzaweni basimikisa endzaweni letinganamandla. Safa ticotsha netilwane. Sibahlulile ngo-1994 sebabuyile baboneni bagcokele tikhuluphile tikhumba tetiwe bathi asitivoseleni singu-ANC.
Honorable member Mguni, take your seat.
You are not for sale.
Honorable member, what are you rising on?
Honorable Chair, whilst you were listening to the table, the honorable member, I'm very worried, he said something so wrong that the children who are sitting there are listening to it. You failed to understand that the National Party had a merger with the ANC. Let's teach the children a right
Honorable
history.
member, that's not a point of order.
In addressing the above, I focus on the global concept of what constitutes appropriate and fit to finance water and sanitation infrastructure development for our evolving
Honorable members, please don't drown the speaker.
The question I raised in my address is the extent to which the seven perspectives related to the fit to finance fit in with the work of the department and its entities to be in line with the NDP and the ANC resolutions and manifesto as highlighted in the recent study undertaken by the World Water Council in 2015 entitled Water Fit to Finance, on which the ANC since 1994 was grounded upon. The following are issues that strongly permeate the work of the department as uploaded by the ANC in its definition of work and strongly embedded in financial consideration. These are water security, importance of multi-purpose water infrastructure, creating an enabling environment, use of competition and innovation, overcoming inefficiency, balancing financial risks and reward, and accessing new and old finance. The ANC welcomes and supports development by the department on water infrastructure development by allocating of funds over the medium term to achieve the program purpose and objectives, stressing the importance of sustainable water and sanitation infrastructure over the MTF. For 2015-16, more than 11 billion has been allocated of the 15 billion. Over 27-18, more than 12 billion, and over 2018-2019, over 13 billion. Siyaqhubeka Honorable Lion. Over the medium term, the Portfolio Committee agreed that the department should continue to focus on water infrastructure, including raw water infrastructure, such as dams and canals, Honorable Baker. And also reservoirs and pipelines, which is budgeted more than 78% of the total budget to achieve the Vision 2030. To ensure that water is available for households and farmers, the ANC supports the department through its implementing agents to complete 2 mega projects and 12 large water and wastewater infrastructure projects over the medium term. These are funded through the Regional Bulk Water Infrastructure Grant, which is allocated 15 billion. There are other examples, like over 54 million that has been set aside for Konka Dam water supply to Lukanji municipality in the Eastern Cape for 52,000 households, and over 150 million for the upgrading of the Vomaralstad wastewater treatment in the Makwanzi Hills municipality in the Northwest for 12,700. Astamthi ke thinela siyaqhuba sishoda ngawe. Now you get EFF, anivum the budget. Are you saying to our people they must not have water, they must not have economic emancipation, they must not have job creation? Shame on you. As I conclude, my principal minister, in consultation with the Minister of Environment, may I draw your attention to the essentiality of also investing in the maintaining of ecological infrastructure to add value on water and sanitation built infrastructure in South Africa. The recent discussion on the nexus between the investment and the built infrastructure and ecological infrastructure shows that the strategic investment in ecological infrastructure lengthens the life of existing built infrastructure, often with significant cost savings, and assist to cope with the climate change. Degraded ecological infrastructure leads to the reduced capacity and lifespan of dams, increasing the cost of maintenance and increases the cost of funding. Yes, there are challenges facing the water and sanitation infrastructure development program. But the fact is, post-1994, investment has begun to reshape the South African landscape to the full realization of the economic and social constitutional right for all citizens. Nina Begnene, niloko nikhuluma ngalabantu labang 20,000, kule ngudla lethatha 30,000 kule manifesto launch. Nguliphi lelibala belapha ya? Bebakuphi lalabamhlophe njengoba nigcwele nina nila. Nidlala ngalendlu lemnyama. Ngiyakholwa bebahleli kuma mention wabo nasema beach babukela lama TV lamakhulu. Babukela labantu bakisi labamnyama laba babita ngokuthi ma monkeys and baboons bashiswa langa. Namhla ke nalo Judge Johnson uyaeda uthi kunema rapists ebantwini labamnyama. Labanye bebanikwe netimali. Bakhuluma bathi we want to change. What change? Change from what? From good to back to the sufferings and the things that you are doing today. Hayi bantu bakithi yidleni le mali. Niyathi lana iqhamuka khona. Isende le ndlela. Thatha mali votela.
Honorable members.
Thatha mali. The less I say about the EFF, the better. You have moved from hatred of not only the ANC and this individual, but the entire people you claim to be representing. You know, anger is like a flowing water, which I presume to be normal as long as it flows. It's just that it denies itself freedom to flow. But hatred, which you EFF you possess, is like stagnant water. You know, the stagnant water is likely to have the following: becoming dirty, stinky, disease-ridden, poisonous, and deadly. You are chaotic, rejecting every progress, violent, most of all, lack the African and God-given principle, respect, Honorable Kaula. With the DA imitating you lately, Mbatsola, man, we are aware of this wage driver. We are watching your poisonous tongue, as Oliver Tambo once warned us of people like you. You have troubled water, my fellow South Africans. Oliver Tambo once said in the ANC 48 National Conference in Durban, I open quote, we did not tear ourselves apart because of the lack of progress at times. We were ready to accept our mistakes and most importantly, correct them. Above all, we succeeded to foster and defend the unity of the ANC and our people in general. My fellow South Africans, do not despair. Kuba ANC, Kuba. Sishota ngawe mprofeti, sishota ngawe mfundisi, sishota ngawe sangoma, sishota ngawe ekhaya, sishota ngawe mkukini, sishota ngawe taxini, sishota ngawe university. ANC iyasebenza, ANC isebenzile.
Honorable member, your time is now expired. Order, honorable members. The next speaker is the Honorable Minister of Water and Sanitation. Order, honorable members.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I want to address myself to some of the issues that have been positively presented here through the Chair of the Portfolio Committee and other honorable members. Yes, indeed, we never said that we'll do a miracle within a period of 22 years. We committed ourselves that we'll never rest until South Africa is free, both socially and economically. And that we also believe in the notion that South Africa belongs to all those who live in it. And hence some of our interventions in this province where you are resisting to declare some of the informal settlements, formal townships, and hence you are not saving them, you're saving a minority that is out in the suburbs and forget about Khayelitsha and Site C. You are amongst those who are resisting an appreciation that things are better compared to how they were some years ago. Many of you will carry placards of black people, of Africans, because you see us as objects. Shame on you. Remember, there's a big difference now when you see those youngsters and elderly people carrying water, because it is happening, because at least you have tried to bring water closer compared to what you have done here in the Eastern Cape, giving people buckets as a form of toilet and expect them to sleep in the house with that. Shame on you. I really want to also indicate that amongst other things, why we have contamination of our own sewer system and spillages is because we no longer have an influx control. Our people are at liberty to move from one part of the country to the other, and hence rapid urbanization. Your separate development that is being perpetuated in Mid-Val is the one that will make your green and blue drop look better, and yet it is at the expense of the African child. Shame on you. We want to also remind you that amongst other things that we are now dealing with, it's the incapacity that has been there in the state, because yours was about saving a minority over the majority. We will transform this sector, we'll bring black industrialists, will bring professionals who must come and work, and most importantly, will direct our resources where they are highly needed. Honorable Member Baker, tell no lies, claim no easy victory. In an area called Mashonanini, in Mashonanini village in Mkhuhlu, in Bushbuck Ridge, Honorable Deputy Minister Matala Masuku comes from that area. Today, they've got clean water, including fire hydrants, to make that village a better village where people can live peacefully and there can be prosperity. Compared to what you are doing in the Mid-Val, where you continue to keep our people living and eating with pigs because you want to maintain the dominance of the DA in those areas. The other thing that I want to talk about,
honorable member.
Yes, Every time we empower a black business person, we are told we are lining our pockets. Time has come that we will not only rely on the capacity of white-owned big companies.
Order,
we will
member.
give the young, we'll give women, we'll give black-owned companies, known or unknown by you, to be the ones that are going to now deliver in this particular sector. Call it lining our pockets. It's time for us to create wealth amongst our own black people. We're not shy about that. It's time for us to empower women. We are not shy about that. Call it lining our pockets. It will be up to you to continue saying that it is time for the African people to be involved in the construction and not only in the consumption of water. As I conclude, I also want to remind ubaba uShelembe ukuthi laphana kwaZululand kunje kunempucuko. It's because of our RBIC projects. We have bailed you out in that area because we care for every South African. South Africa belongs to all those who live in it. Mamukhawula ngenhlonipho nangomoya wesonto. Uyazi lezi ndawo okhuluma ngazo ukuthi indawo lezi bekuyindawo zabantu lapho babezibeke khona kungekho intuthuko. Siyasebenza khona manje, and in fact the lie that it is only the DA controlled municipalities that are doing good. eThekwini is one amongst the best. It has been assessed independently and worldwide that it is. What I have to tell you, we will never tire serving our people. And we know that we are all by ourselves. And Member Basson, I dare say to you, show me Mrs. Van Niekerk who's getting water in the way that you have shown us, Mrs. Shabalala.
Honorable Minister,
racist
your time is
attitude
now expired.
and exploitation of our people. We will work. We know that you are alone, and we hope the electorate knows it is
Honorable
only
Minister,
the ANC
your
that can
time is
bring a
now
better life in
expired.
South Africa. Thank you, Nyabong.
Order. Order, honorable members. Honorable members. Honorable members. This is a debate. Do not allow your emotions to run away with you. Be in control of yourselves. I can't control you. Your emotions belong to you. Order. Members are reminded, Members are reminded that the debate on the energy budget vote will take place at 2 o'clock in the National Assembly, and the debate on defense and military veterans budget vote will take place in the old Assembly chamber. That concludes the debate and the business of this extended public committee. The committee will now rise.
In a way it has never done before, because it's very convenient just to take one tablet. More so, the other thing that was discouraging adherence was side effects. The fixed dose combination where they take one pill